And October is finally here. I love this time of year. I'm working on the little pumpkins in the cart, and it's mostly stem stitch. And again, with these really sharp curves on the leaves, I went ahead and tacked it or took just a tiny little stitch in there. Everything is a stem stitch except this curvy little vine, because it is so curvy and I wanted it to be a bit of a finer line. So we're going to do a back stitch there. So back stitch, if you remember, you bring it up in the previous hole, go past where your needle is or the thread is, and then you go back in that previous hole, go past where the thread is, and just continue that way. And sometimes this stitch I do a little bit better if it's in a hoop, but that's totally up to you. I'm not really fast at this one because I don't do it very often, but it's a great one, like I said before, for going around really tight curves like that. And there you go, just like that. And then the eye is just one little tiny straight stitch. I'll show you that too. But now I want to get back down to here, so I'm going to thread my thread under those stitches I just made on the vine so that I don't carry a whole lot on the back. And now I can just come out here. And you'll want to remember on these pumpkins that are curved to carry your thread on the outside of the curve, like this. Okay, let me finish a little bit more of this, and then I'll show you the eye and the French knot. Okay, so these little dots are French knots, and I guess we did do a couple up here because we did those for the snowman's eyes. That was just one wrap around. This time we're going to wrap it around the needle 2 times. One thing I wanted to mention is sometimes you can get a knot, or you can get a French knot that doesn't turn out right, and then you have to take them out. So what I recommend doing is starting with a brand new thread. So like, don't continue stitching down here and then hop up here and do French knots, because if you have to take that out, then you're gonna have to take out those stitches too. So this is a new thread. So I brought my needle up right on the dot, and I'm going to wrap my thread around 2 times, kind of hold it with my finger there, take the needle down really close to where I brought it up, and pull those wraps down to the fabric. And I'm holding on to the back of the fabric and the front of the fabric, keeping this nice and taut, and then I pull my needle through. And that is a French knot. So let me do another one here. And since these are so close, I'm not like knotting between, I'm just going from one to the next. So I wrap it around twice, I put it down close to where I brought the needle up. Now I'm going to pull those wraps down to the fabric. I pull it snug, but not too tight, because you have to pull the needle through. And there's another one. So I'll finish these up, and we'll move on to another stitch. When you're stitching the wheel, what I would do is stitch the outside circle first, and then I would stitch this inside circle. And then as you're doing the spokes, start on the inside of this little circle, and that way I'll hold those stitches in place. Just another way of anchoring them so that they don't kind of fall in, since it is such a small little circle. So that's one little trick to do for the wheel. So stitching up this little bird, I've come to this point of his beak, and I'm just going to pop my thread up here to make his little eye, which is just a single little straight stitch. And then I can pop back there, and I'll have this nice point, this nice corner for that beak to start at. And since I want it to be kind of a pointy beak, I'm going to go ahead and go out just a couple of strands of thread past the beak where the drawing is, and then start coming up on the line. Now he's got a nice pointy beak, And again, I'm carrying the thread on the outside of the curve while I finish this. And that will finish up October's block. And I'll just go ahead and finish up these stem stitches. And if you wanted to add some running stitches to give them a little bit of character, like the squirrel, feel free to do that. And don't forget to post your finished stitcheries. See you next month.